Today's topic is going to be a little controversial because we're going to be talking about criticized authors. Hey Dragonlings, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Skye. I'm a fantasy author who typically writes paranormal romance under the name St. Hegyes, and today we're doing another Author Answers video. Author Answers is a new segment on my channel that I have started doing. It is based on a blog I found a few years ago where a bunch of authors got together and answered the same question on a single blog post. And I have taken that idea and conformed it to video format. And so I'm taking a lot of inspiration. I'm using a lot of the same questions they did. This was back in 2016. I will be skipping any questions that don't concern or are no longer relevant to what I am personally doing, but I thought this would be a lot of fun to do on my channel and give you a little bit of insight into who I am, what I write about, and why, and so on and so forth. And today is the second video I'm doing like that. So for today's episode, the question is, what criticized author do you like to read? And I think in order to delve into this topic, we need to talk about what you mean by criticized. When I was reading over the answers in the blog post itself, it was all over the place. They counted people who had hypocritical viewpoints, and the fact that they said one thing, changed their mind, and contradicted themselves a bunch of times. There were things mentioned about controversies. There were things mentioned about people who just get a lot of bad reviews. So it really depends on what your thought process is as to figure out what you consider a criticized author. Now, I do have another video I plan on doing where I talk about problematic authors, so I'm not going to go into detail about any authors that I think are controversial in that sense. I do have one specific author that comes to mind, though, when I think about this, and I think about the fact that I am still going to continue reading their work, even though they themselves were not a great person, and that is H.P. Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft was not a good man. He was very much a racist. He even named his cat, if you didn't know this, fun tidbit for the day, Lovecraft named his cat a derogatory word. Yeah. However, the reason I don't mind reading him, even though he was such an asshat in a lot of ways, is because of the fact that he's dead. He can't benefit from my reading his work anymore. Now, I have not done a lot of research into this, and so if you know the process of this, let me know, because I am kind of curious. I just haven't delved into it yet. And that's the fact that with authors who have passed away, whose works are now considered classics, who benefits from those works? Like, who gets the monetization from those works? Other than publishing companies. I know that much, but like living relatives and stuff like that. So other than publishing companies, I don't know who, if anyone, benefits from my purchasing Lovecraftian books. And one of the reasons that I personally like H.P. Lovecraft is that he writes such gothic and atmospheric horror that it makes my skin crawl. And every once in a while, I love that feeling. I want a good spine-tingling horror that just creeps you out. And he had a tendency to write what is now known as like eldritch horror, and that is horror about ancient gods and deities that are kind of out of this world and that drive you mad just by looking upon them. My favorite of which is Cthulhu. I have a lot of Cthulhu merchandise. I have the Necronomicon, which is a collection of H.P. Lovecraft short stories, including Call of Cthulhu, which is one of the most well-known short stories that Lovecraft has done. I've got a tarot card deck. I've got a cookbook called the Necronomnom, and my family jokes about it. The fact that I'm currently displaying some of those items on a music stand, which is for like music notes while you're playing in a band or orchestra. And so we lovingly call it my altar of Cthulhu. That was not the initial intention. I put it up there to have something behind me in videos back when I was still in the library filming videos, but it has kind of stuck and it hasn't been taken down, so I've sort of not exactly got an altar to Cthulhu. I don't necessarily worship a deity, but if I did, it might be Cthulhu. So that is one author I read that is technically not a good person, is probably criticized for not being a good person, and yet their works are still rememberable to this day and in this modern age. There are a lot of things that take reference from Lovecraft's work or are inspired by Lovecraft's work. There are video games, some of which I have and have not played yet. Some board games, there are role-playing games, there are music styles, there are so much of Lovecraft's work has inspired and been the foundation of so many modern works that I also enjoy, that it's hard to get away from his style even if I wanted to. And again, he's dead. He's not going to care if I enjoy his works or not. At least I don't think so. And if he has any descendants that benefit from my purchasing items that are Cthulhu related or Lovecraftian related, I don't know about it. So while he himself was not necessarily a good person, I have no problem reading his works. In the end, reading is subjective. Sometimes you can separate the artist from the art, and sometimes you can't. In this case, it's a little easier because said artist is dead and does not benefit from my reading their material anymore. However, it is subjective, and you have to make that decision for yourself. And I just wanted to make this quick video to talk about that criticized author and why I read them. Again, I will have a further video in the future where I go into more detail about problematic authors, but I'm not quite there yet. I'm still tweaking that video, and this video kind of touches on that topic without diving into it. So yeah, if you made it this far into the video, feel free to leave me some kind of red flag emoji. And my question for you is, what criticized author do you like to read? And what is your favorite work by them? As I said, I have been reading H.P. Lovecraft, and I have a sneaking suspicion that my favorite story will be Call of Cthulhu, but I have not actually read Call of Cthulhu yet. I have read more fan fiction of Cthulhu works than I've read Cthulhu works, which is saying a lot. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye, Dragonlings.